When did you move up to the team commander role? Was that before you went to Afghanistan or after?
Yeah, I was on tag as a team commander. The domestic CT as a team commander. But then to be deployed as one of the junior team commanders for the Timor gig was great. So I got to see how the other two senior team commanders operated. And every team commander's got a specific job, whether it's domestic CT or deployed overseas. So there's a whole structure and a whole program as to how they plan and what they do. And it's really, it's inspiring and inspirational to watch, like every guy do their job, so you can get the planning cycle faster and faster and more efficient. So I was a junior guy, so I could watch, what the senior two dudes were doing. So then the following year, deployed to Afghanistan, I was still in that junior team commander role. So I could take a back seat and just watch how they planned to get us on target, the helicopters, the engineers, the interpreters, the snipers, where they put these people in the aircraft and what aircraft went to what overwatch position, and then what happened on target. There's a specific team commander that details what team makes entry in what door or on what roof or through what wall if we blow a wall up.
As a civilian, you don't think about that level of, like, you go, okay, they planned a mission, right? They went and did whatever and they kicked in a few doors and got whoever they want to get. But you don't think about, who's going to sit on what aircraft in what position, and like you just don't think it's to that level of detail.
Yeah, you're right. It is. It exactly is. As to you're a reverse engineer when you hop on the aircraft, so you've got your soldiers at the back, and it comes down to each seat. You're right. Like the third guy off, we may want to be an engineer because we're looking for IEDs potentially, and the fourth guy could be an interpreter because we want a local interface with the locals there. Someone to talk to them as the number 4 and 5 come in. And so they've got protection in the middle of the assault team. But you're right, there is a lot of planning that goes on as to how many people each specific aircraft, whether it's a Black Hawk or a Chinook or a Mi-17 or a CH-53, how many people they can take at what height during what, summer or winter, it changes. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Is there a point where the planning is too much? Because obviously things go wrong on target, right? No, I imagine that probably 99% of them never go to plan. So is there a point where you can over-plan and it creates an inability to be flexible on target?
It does, you're right. It does. Yeah. And we've learnt that early on, I guess, whether it was Timor in 2000, 2001 or Timor 2006, you're right. You plan for, 3 or 4 key responses or, courses of action. But then after that, it's sort of cuff it. You've set yourself up for what's most likely is going to happen and the second and third response. And after that, it's, we've got mature soldiers, guys that can think on their feet. So you've got confidence in your whole team having the ability to, be flexible and to move and shift focus onto a second compound or, a vehicle that's driving away that's now, got, hostages in it, for instance. So there's a lot of different scenarios that you just can't account for in every planning cycle. But we've got, and that's why we pick more mature soldiers who have that ability to think laterally and not just be focused on, hey, I need to do this at all costs and I've got one job. We've got guys who are cross-trained as medics and interpreters and explosives guys. So you'd like to think that you pick a more well-rounded soldier at the end of the day who can think on his feet and change.
Was that deployment your first time in Afghanistan?
Yeah, so January of 2008, that was my first 6-month deployment, yeah.
What was the reality like being there compared to the stories that you'd heard and what you had envisaged it to be?
Delta Company, who I went with, that was their second rotation there. So they did rotation 3.
You were attached to Delta Company. You didn't go as like a full unit, commando unit over?
No, we went as subunits. So we went as, 2 Commando has got A, B, C, and D, for instance, companies. So Delta Company did the January 2008. But
Oh, I
they
was thinking Delta as in American Forces Delta.
no, you're right. Yeah, they've
Okay.
got their Delta entire unit, which is the same size as our entire unit in Perth. But they did, so we had probably 20 operators that did the rotation 3 in 2006, and one of them's a good mate of mine. So I was hitting him up for, like, where are the, because we went to Tower and Cout, TK, they call it. And so, I asked him a lot of questions before we went, when you were there 2 years ago now, I guess, where were the bad guys and what areas did you control, and what the most likely IED places and the main roads, because they had Route Bear there, which was the main highway to get you from TK down to Kandahar. So that was a key road for us to maintain security on, because we got all our resources out of Kandahar. So controlling that route, which was Route Bear, was important. So there's a it was exciting. It was so exciting for me to fly in there for the first time and be on the ground and be war fighting and be with your team and your platoon, and have everything you could possibly want, whether it's cold weather gear or the latest night vision, helmets, body armor. It was great to be operationally focused and be the center of attention for equipment and assets and intelligence. To see the whole war machine come together was pretty impressive.